Look at that, eh? You know what's so interesting? How long now we on Zoom? About 18 months, and we still have these little issues, eh? Oh my goodness. So sorry. But as I was saying, the time has arrived, folks. It's 6:10 p.m. and it's time for us to begin our program for this evening. Now, of course, as is the custom with any event, we have some house announcements. We have some house announcements that would be now mentioned to ensure that you have an enjoyable evening this evening. So first of all, please be guided that this is not a camera shy event. Camera shyness is being strongly discouraged. So as much as it is possible, we are encouraging you to put on your cameras so that we could see each other, and that would make the evening all the more enjoyable. In addition, you can eat and drink as much as you'd like, but please don't litter. We are asking you to use the bins provided after you finish with your beverages and your snacks to discard of them properly. Good? That is the end of our house announcements. Goodwood, Palatuvier, Roxborough. Out of one came three. Through the blessings of Jehovah and the guidance of his Holy Spirit, the Roxborough congregation gave way to the formation of two other congregations, proving to be a loud shout of praise and honor to Jehovah's great and holy name throughout the island of Tobago. However, Jehovah would have used his precious servants, yes, some precious sisters and a few faithful brothers that are gathered here with us this evening to help during those formative years. These dear ones left their homes, left their families without knowing what to expect, just being driven by the desire and the willingness to serve. And what a joy it was to have them here with us. So many of us have benefited from working alongside them. We not only caught their zeal and enthusiasm, but we enjoyed the many years of wholesome association that they also brought with them. This evening, you dear ones, you precious ones, as a congregation, as congregations, we want to say thank you. Thank you to our dear pioneer sisters and brothers. Thank you for your tremendous efforts of self-sacrifice over the years. We hope and we trust that this evening just provides the platform within which those memories and the bonds of friendship that will form throughout those years would live on and be rekindled, and they would last forever throughout eternity. So it is with that in mind, dear ones, that I, as your host for this evening, I'm truly, truly pleased to welcome you to this event, the reunion. This evening's program is going to take us down a trip down memory lane. We are going to go back in time into the history of some of the early years of the work that was done in Roxborough that led to what we see now in Palatuvier and Goodwood. And of course, as is the custom, there would also be some light entertainment that are going to afford us an opportunity to lighten up a little bit, enjoy some of the productions that the brothers have put forward. And of course, after all these various pieces, we'll have that fine opportunity to benefit from wholesome association with each other. So are you ready? I am. Let's begin. Without further delay, we're going to have the first part of our program this evening. And what we're going to have this evening is a live interview that will be conducted with two of our brothers that would have been instrumental in leading the work at the time during those years. We have the privilege of interviewing this evening Brother Kelvin Lewis, and alongside him, we have Brother Richard Joseph. To you, our two dear brothers, we say welcome We thank you for being here with us this evening. And we extend the opportunity now for us to hear some expressions from you, dear brothers. So once again, we say welcome.
Thank you.
So to you, Brother Lewis and Brother Joseph, we have some questions. And what we will do, the questions are all the same for the both of you. But we're going to ask them in a way so that Brother Lewis leads off and then Brother Joseph answering the same question. We'd like to hear your expressions. So we're hearing your brothers clearly. So if you're ready, we could begin.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yes, I am.
Very good.
Yes, we are.
Very
Thank you for
good.
hearing
Nice.
us clearly.
Very clearly, Brother Lewis. Excellent.
Okay, sure.
So
Excellent.
first of all, the first question, and Brother Lewis, you could start us off. Tell us, what year did you move to Tobago?
It was in December of 1997. Of 1997.
1997. Very good. And you, Brother Joseph?
No. Just now. 87. 87.
87. Had to be 87.
Yes. Brother Lewis, you made me start to wonder because I was checking the age. I was checking the age against the backdrop of the date, and I kind of something a little different.
Right, 1987.
1987. Very good.
Yeah, that was December.
Okay. Nice. December of 1987. Excellent. And Brother Joseph, for you, what year would you have made the move over?
June 92.
June 92. So just like about 5 years apart. Very good. Now, of course, we know that with moving, even though it's Trinidad and Tobago, we are one country, one republic. Moving from Trinidad to Tobago has its challenges. So what were some of the challenges that you brothers would have had in making that transition and adjusting to Tobago? Brother Lewis?
Well, I'll start off first with regards to the territory. For example, formerly, in my home congregation, we would have been able to walk the whole territory. And we would have been able to cover the whole territory within a very quick span with regards to time. But we find that in our territory here in Tobago, at that time, it was very, very expansive. So it means then it would have taken all the way down to, well, north side and up to Charlottesville, down to Goodwood, you pass here, go down to Mount St. George. At that time, it was up to Mount St. George. So it means then that the territory would have been very expansive, and to cover those areas, it would have taken a lot. It would have taken a lot. So that was some of the challenges that, you know, when it comes to conducting Bible studies and making return visits, you know, you will not be able to accomplish it in a quick space of time.
Yes, understood, Brother Lewis. And we could really, as we picture in that geographical layout, we could see that happening. And most of us here would have been around at that time and remember that Mount St. George to Charlottesville back to Castara. So we understand exactly what would have been the challenge there. Brother Joseph, what about you? What were some of the challenges you would have had in making that transition?
Well, when we moved, we were recently married, young couple, very young couple, and it was our first major move. We moved from the Cokery congregation, and it was a quick move. We had a week to pack and get to Tobago, and not having any experience in packing, Lucy and I, we just put a number of things in garbage bags. And so by the time things got to Tobago, almost everything was destroyed. So we got here and you just had garbage bags with damaged stuff inside it. And that was one. And then when we got here, well, Lucy was here for a bit. I had to go back, you know, working on trying to get a maxi to come back. And then we got here, as Kelvin was mentioning, you know, transport, the issue of transport, working the territory and so on. We used to be spending a lot of time in the north side areas, the Palatuve, Castara areas and so on. And it really, it had its challenges there, you know, both of us spending a lot of time in those areas. It had its challenges.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, you know, Brother Joseph, I'm listening to you and hearing that mention being made of the stuff that you lost. And you know, it's interesting because you know we have been together for so long, but it's like, you know, you're hearing these things and it's almost unbelievable to know, because that wouldn't have been easy to deal with, and especially making that move over. So we thank you for sharing that with us. Now, you're here with your brother Louis. You have been able to overcome some of the early challenges in the transition, in the move over. So now you settle into the territory. Tell us what were some of the preaching experiences that you all would have had. And they don't have to be necessarily personal experiences, but experiences of the congregation maybe at that time as well too. Brother Louis, you can start us off, please.
Sure. Well, early experiences, I can think in terms first of one. We started the Kingdom Hall, I think it was in 1988. I think we started with the construction of the Kingdom Hall. And that was soon after we got here. Arrangement was put in place, and I can remember our meeting place was downstairs, Sister King's house. And what was commendable is that the brothers at that time, well, they were very zealous. They would work hard. They had a deep love for Jehovah, because circumstances was not easy, but yet still the brothers were very zealous. They worked hard to accomplish for us getting the Kingdom Hall. Even in the preaching work, it took a lot. Sometimes we may have to come to Charlottesville, Speyside. Of course, at that time I was living at Pembroke, you know. So it meant that we would have had to come these areas. If no transport was available, we would have had to time the bus to get back out when the bus coming back out, you know. And it was exciting, you know, it was very exciting. And, you know, you had brothers with you, Brother Dunmore, you know, Brother Melville, older ones, you know, and they were very skillful in the operation. They knew how to get around, and we worked with them, we learned from them. And, you know, I certainly admire their devotion and their love to Jehovah under these difficult circumstances.
Yes, yes, very good. But Louis, let me just ask something quickly. As you mentioned the bus, if for some reason the timing of the bus was off, what would have happened? Let me say you missed the bus, or you know, you timed it back. What would have been the next thing that happened after that?
Well, we would have had to choose an alternative form of transport. The fact is we have to get out, you know?
Right. Yeah.
So you know, but basically, you know, what would have happened is that if you are making some calls, you tell yourself, well, look, the bus leaving Charlottesville, let's say 2 o'clock, just a rough average. It means then that you have a study that you would like to finish that study in time so that you could put yourself in place, you know? So, you know, a lot of things worked around that. But of course, if things didn't work out that way, well, then you have to choose an alternative form of transportation.
Yes, yes. Yeah, very good. And you know, as you mentioned, the meetings at Sister King's home, I was a very young chap, but some of my fondest memories there was when the tide would get high and the crowds would start running in, you know, by the meeting place. Yeah, but you know, as a young fella, not concentrating too much, but yeah, we did have some good memories at that meeting place indeed, Brother Lowe's. Brother Joseph, for you, what would have been some of the early preaching experiences that you would have been able to benefit from?
Well, we spent a lot of time in the north side areas, you know, Palatuvia, Castara, Bloody Bay, Lansing areas. And we had a maxi taxi, and we had some fun memories with it. A lot of us here would remember some of those fun memories with the maxi. As dependable as it was full of surprises too. So we had to live with that. And so on, sometimes you were not too sure if it would start or how it would, but somehow we got around, you know, with it. Jehovah was good in that sense. But being consistent, you know, those long days, we would start like early mornings and we'd preach, Lucy and I, all day, you know, in the initial stages, even before we had the other pioneers came and joined with us. And we'd spend these long days in the ministry, working the different villages. And when we think back now and to see what has happened, while it was hard, you know, while it was tough, but to see what has happened now, you know, we feel good that we persisted, you know, kept up that consistent routine of, you know, just being there, even though it's hard, plenty walking, and it was difficult, but it was enjoyable.
Yes, I would imagine so. So, you know, both Brother Louis and Brother Joseph, you both mentioned in both cases transportation issues, but I know there will be some memories, if they're probably a bit clearer in your minds, where in any of those situations where transportation may have not been as reliable, that any bit of walking, maybe walking back to your destination or walking back to home, was the last form of transportation available? Was there any situation where there had to be some walking to get back? Brother Louis, in any case where the bus probably didn't pass, was there any walking to get back? Anything like that?
Well, what would come to mind, you know, the walking might just probably not as far as, you know, as Speyside or Charlottesville, but maybe, you know, like if you in Bell Garden and you walk across the Pembroke, something of that nature, but nothing too expansive, you know.
Yeah, very good. Brother Joseph, what about you? I know that north side one would be an interesting trek to make.
Yeah, well, we have had occasions where after a book study, we had a book study at the time, and everyone is in the maxi and ready to leave to come back out, and it wouldn't start, or it broke down, and then you'd have to leave, go back and look to spend the night somewhere, and the next day then try to get out and so on. So it kind of was the norm, all right, for things like that to happen, and so on. Transport, sometimes you got to jump on a rubbish truck, whatever come, you know, make that you can get around. You know, you got around,
Yeah. And the folks on Goodwood would remember too that there would have been some nights that we stay back very late, and Sundays we stay back very late waiting on transportation. I can't remember ever walking to Pembroke, but I know probably we started walking to make efforts to get home. So all of that was part of those early experiences. And you know, for the brothers who would remember with the maxi that Brother Joseph mentioned, that maxi became such a popular fixture in the countryside that sometimes I would be down the road waiting in the morning to go to school. And if Richard only came down for, he didn't know, I never told him this before. So this is a new expose. I would be so depressed that Richard couldn't pick me up because he was so full. And I would just stand there and, you know, I would try to keep a brave face, but I was so depressed that I couldn't get into the most favorite maxi in the countryside. But, you know, it was all good, Richard. So now you know. Very good. So, Brother Louis and Brother Joseph, so far we're going good. We have two more questions. What blessings have you received on account of the sacrifices you have made? Brother Louis?
Well, first of all, I share the sentiments of the psalmist David at Psalm 27 and verse 4, where he said, "One thing I have asked of Jehovah, it is that I would look for, that I will dwell in the house of Jehovah all the days of my life, to gaze upon the pleasantness of Jehovah and to look with appreciation upon his temple." So like the psalmist David, I feel that I'm able to maintain my relationship with Jehovah. That's a blessing that, you know, of showing yourself in the ministry Also, another blessing that I have received, that I have learned a lot from the brothers, as I mentioned in my earlier comment, that under these difficult circumstances, you really see, because you had brothers here who were special pioneers and, and sisters as well. And under these difficult conditions, you can see their love for Jehovah. Of course, things wasn't ideal, but you can see that they had this deep sense of love for Jehovah. So that was a blessing for me that I was able to learn from them. And also, I was able to have a part in the growth of Jehovah's organization or the congregation. It gives me a deep sense of satisfaction, like the psalmist David, who said, I can look with appreciation upon the temple of Jehovah.
Yes. Brother Louis, those were some very sincere expressions, and we truly appreciate that. Brother Joseph?
Well, first of all, spending the last 31 years in full-time service together with Lucy, that in itself has been a blessing. Spending every day together, being in the ministry, or even when you're home doing things together. For me, for us, that truly is a blessing in these times, and very, very thankful for that. Another blessing could be the privilege, to have lived in different parts of the world and to see that the brotherhood is something real. So when we speak about a paradise, new earth, this is real. It's already taking place. Because wherever you go, you feel the brotherhood. It's very, very real. And so that has been a blessing, for me, for us, Lucy and I. And something too that, we have both learned is to depend and wait on Jehovah. If you need something, he would give you it. And, we have learned to depend on him and wait on him. And these things have been blessings for us.
Yes. Very good, my brothers. Thank you so much. Again, Brother Joseph, yourself too, very sincere expressions, and we appreciate it wholeheartedly. Finally, what words of encouragement would you, dear brothers, like to share with us? Based on all that we have spoken about here this evening, what words would you like to leave us with? Words of encouragement. Brother Louis?
Right. Well, as we look forward to the new system of things, we know that Jehovah's organization is the channel that Jehovah God is using. And certainly, I would certainly like to encourage all our brothers and sisters to continue to remain faithful to Jehovah. And, as time goes on, we find that the older ones, they may not be able to do as much as they used to do. So we have to look to the younger ones. We have to look to the younger ones who are coming up. So we want to encourage them to continue to put kingdom interests first in their lives. It reminds me of the Apostle Paul when he writes to Timothy at 2 Timothy chapter 3 and verse 14, where Paul told Timothy, you, however, continue in the things that you have learned and were persuaded to believe, knowing from whom you learned them. And from infancy, you have known the holy writings, which are able to make you wise for salvation. So we want to continue we want to encourage the young ones so that they can continue to be persuaded in the things that they were taught, so that they can continue to reach out to become pioneers, to become ministerial servants, to become elders. Because really, Jehovah's organization, we always think in terms of growth. And as the older ones get older, the younger ones need to come up. They need to step up so that they too would be able to, continue in assisting honest-hearted ones. So that's the encouragement I want to give to the younger ones, to keep focused and we always remember that we cannot slave for two masters. So it's important to keep focused, right? Because if we slave for two masters, we can't do that. Either one
Yeah.
will get more than the other, right? So keep focused.
Yes, yes. Excellent. Very much so, Brother Lewis. Very, very good. Brother Joseph?
I think almost just continuing from where Kelvin left off there. When we came to Tobago, 2 congregations. Today, 7. What does that mean? That's an indication, or that is evidence that this is Jehovah's organization. So if any, young ones or those who are still maybe indecisive, thinking about things, you have tangible evidence in front of you, this growth that has taken place, that this is Jehovah's organization. We have even more evidence now, this very situation that we are in, as an indication that the end is upon us. So the encouragement is, with all this evidence that we are seeing, make good use of it. Use it as an indication to, get on board. Join with us in serving Jehovah fully, because when the Great Tribulation does begin, time would have run out. So now is indeed the time to do something if a person really wants to use his life to serve Jehovah, which is what we encourage them to do.
Yes. Brother Joseph, Brother Lewis, we ended on a truly positive note with this interview. And I know that the final words that you would have shared with us would have resonated loudly, not only in the ears of all of us here, but especially our dear younger ones who definitely are transitioning. And we thank you for sharing these fine experiences with us. Once again, as mentioned in the introduction, we appreciate all the hard work that you brothers would have done, and so many others along in support of you as well. But this was just to give the friends an overall view. And most of us here were a part of that as well. And this now leads us off nicely into the next part of the program, which would be an interview conducted with some of the pioneers that would have been here during the time that Brother Joseph and Brother Lewis mentioned. Now, what we have here is a collaboration where we captured as much as we could from the group that was here. Now, not all of it was able to be put into the production, but friends, we assure you that what would be played here for us this evening would definitely, truly give us that story as it was lived so many years ago by these faithful ones. So we invite you now to sit back, relax, and enjoy the fine sentiments of our hard-working pioneer sisters.
You don't know what you will end up in, and you don't know when you'll get it.
And she told me, put a face to the name, go and let them. Really wonderful serving in Tobago. The friendships that I forged while in Tobago.
This would have been the first time we ever done local beans.
When I tell you, Jehovah's an awesome God, inspiring.
It was a dream coming true. Tobago is such a beautiful place, and to actually be living there and doing what I love the most, it was one of the best opportunities I could ever experience in my life.
I was really excited because at last, Jehovah has helped me to accomplish at least one of my goals.
I was beyond excited. I was so enthusiastic and so eager to come because my last name is Caesar, of course, and Caesar is a Tobago name. And it isn't just a Tobago name, but my family, my grandparents, my father was born in Tobago and of course grew up in Charlottesville. I have scores of aunts and cousins from Charlottesville.
I always wanted to be a missionary. So when I received that assignment, I felt it was like a missionary assignment.
At first, I was very excited. I felt like a missionary going to preach in a foreign land. But on the day that I had to leave for Tobago, I went through mixed emotions. I decided while on the port, after all my things were being packed on the boat, that I was not going again. But with the encouragement of some of my relatives and elders who were there, I tearfully got on the boat with my preaching companion, my fleshly sister Katian, and 2 other sisters to pick up our assignment in Tobago.
Well, I felt very, very excited and ecstatic. It was something I really wanted to do and to add to my spiritual life and my ministry, or to extend and expand it, and most importantly, to serve others in this special way, was indeed a grand privilege for me.
I was excited. I was scared a little bit. I didn't know what to expect, but most of all, I was excited and happy to have an opportunity to expand my ministry. Those were my feelings in a nutshell.
I was so excited. I was elated. I went into my parents because I was one of the youngest at that time, and I eventually, not too long after that, got a letter and was like, yes, this is for real. I'm getting to go. So yeah, I was really excited, ecstatic.
I received the assignment with a bit of apprehension. In fact, I was not going to apply for the assignment because I felt I was not going to measure up to the requirement. However, it was a fellow pioneer who suggested that I do send in the application form and let Jehovah be the one to decide whether I can measure up or not. So I did, and then Tobago, here I was. The very first day that I worked in Charlottesville, the sister who had to hand over her assignment to me was unable to make it house to house, and so I worked alone. At that time, though, it was pretty safe. And when I went to each house, because it is that I was a stranger to the village, each individual asked me pretty much the same questions. So I needed to answer all those questions before making my presentation. Needless to say, at the end of it all, I was exhausted. I was tired of hearing myself, but it was quite enjoyable. Additionally, living in Seaville meant getting out there with transport that were not the regular mode of transport. There were times we had to hop up in the back of a vehicle, and rather than look at it as stressful, we look at it as joyful. You would notice it in one of the photos.
Challenge was the prospect of living with total strangers. I was wondering, how would we manage? So I decided to seek advice from Sister Laura Polk, who was living in a missionary home, and she encouraged me to have a meeting, arrange a meeting with my fellow housemates beforehand, and to compile a schedule together, rather than just going and feeling our way around. And we did that, and our arrangements for cooking and cleaning, shopping, everything was smooth from the start.
I worked full-time at one time and then part-time. So it would mean that when I got this assignment, it would mean giving up my job for 4 months. And I mean, that was a challenge in itself. But of course, it worked out pretty well.
The expectation, as I mentioned, was way up here, hoping that the people would be responsive and welcoming of us, all of us pioneers who were assigned there. And the fact is that, talking with my own blood relatives, I was really hopeful that this would have made some bit of a difference. And in some respects it did, but to a large extent, it didn't have the initial favorable response that we would have hoped for.
One challenge I could think about was covering the territory properly, because we lived in Roxborough and our assigned territory was Palatuve, Castara, and Bloody Bay areas. We had to depend on Brother Joseph and his wife to take us to and from the territory through the rainforest every week, where we would sometimes come upon creepy and crawling creatures. There was no public transportation, so we did a lot of walking. We would preach there until late into the evening, spend the night in Palatuve, where we had to adjust to bats hanging upside down over our heads, insects, one of which I remember was called the May beetle. And those beetles in the month of May, they could be seen all on our walls, the floor, the curtains, and the furniture. They were everywhere.
I was about 21 or 22 when I first went to Tobago. And of course, leaving the nest, first time leaving your parents' home, was so many new things, and living with different ones, because there was many different ones throughout my stay that I lived with. So, you know, different personalities, backgrounds, all of that proved to be a challenge in getting to fit in. I was very shy, not very talkative. One sister told me, like, because, you know, I would just stay quiet. Whether it's be driving from Speyside to Scarborough, I won't say a word. And of course, you know, those things may be construed differently. So, my sister at the time told me, girl, like, you need a can opener to open your mouth. You just don't talk. But I have grown, so that is good.
My father was taking care of him at the time. He was not too well, and I was his caregiver. And when I found out that I was assigned to Tobago, I said, oh my God, Jehovah, I really get through. And what I'm going to do, how I'm going to deal with, take care of my father. So my mom at that time had fortunity, which was good. My mom had a friend who was taking care of older people. She had a nursing home. So I was able to leave my father there, and she was able to take care of him, and he was in a good hands. He was in very good hands. So when I left to go to Tobago, my mind was very comfortable and to serve in my assignment.
One of them was leaving my mom behind because my dad was not a witness, and my mom and I were close because we shared something in common, our love for Jehovah. So I felt as though I was abandoning her. So that was one of my biggest challenges. One that was outstanding to me was being able to conduct a book study. We took turns as the pioneers, all of us took turns conducting the Bible study, the book study in the house in Palatuve. So that was a precious memory. It was the first time, because of course the brothers conduct the book study. We were doing it from the Greatest Man book. And that was exciting for me, a first experience, but I enjoyed it. I was very nervous the first time, and Lucy kept telling me, time. But that was a great memory.
One outstanding one in particular was when it is that we had to carry our baggage up the hill. That was on Monday evening. Normally we will take up, when we finish service for the day, we take our things up to the home, to the house. And we went to the narrowest track in Palatuve there to reach up to the home itself. So of course we had a lot of baggages. We had gas tanks, we had our bags and a lot of stuff. So Richard decided he will help us to take the baggage up. But of course we didn't realize that they had cut the grass on the hill maybe earlier in the week. And while we were walking up, apparently he slipped and fell straight down. So we thought he ended up in the road because the cliff is on a cliff. That you could, if you slide down there, you'll end up straight in the road. But the grass that they cut during the week, that is what held him up. And of course Jehovah, you could have seen Jehovah's hand at that time. So we had to take all the bags off. Lucy along with us had to help him lift him out of the up back on the track. And for the very first time we ever heard Richard say these words, I fed up. I'm fed up. It's not that the assignment he was fed up of, but the fact is the conditions in which we have to carry the assignment, I guess it got to him at that time.
I have to say, and you'll see it in some of the pictures that we shared, there was one time where we actually had a book study group in the house in Charlottesville, which is right down by the bay. That, I don't remember how long into our preaching tour we were able to do that, but with Jehovah's help, we were seeing images of people inside the living room of the house that we were staying in, because we had invited them for a book study group. And to me, that was one of the high points of my experience there. That was one of my treasured memories.
But something really funny happened to me. We went out to take a walk in the village. And as we going up a little hill, I saw this goat. This goat was huge and hairy and had 2 large horns. It was like something out of the Daniel prophecy. But what was interesting, this goat targeted me. If I went left, he went left. If I went right, he went right. I started to run, he ran. Recognizing this goat was after me, I ran straight back to the house. I didn't look back, so I do not know if he was behind me. But one thing I did know, that goat was looking for a friend.
I remember the high respect the people had for the Bible in the territory, their willingness to attend the book study in Palatuve. After a long day in the ministry, seeing them always brought joy to me. I will never forget the love, hospitality, and generosity of the brothers in the Roxborough congregation towards us, especially that of Sister Joycelyn Beckles, who opened up her home to us and just made us come.
Brother Richard would go to Scarborough and pick up our stipend that the society would send for us once a month. It was like 100 US, I think it was, yes. Around 600 and some change we'll get for our personal needs every month, to pay electric bill or to pay, buy food or whatever, our personal needs. So we would get that, but for some reason it was delayed that month, and we were saying, oh my God, Jehovah, what are we going to do? Provisions running low, food running low, we're not going to beg, but we know Jehovah going to provide. So we went on surveys to do our theocratic stuff that day. We prayed, we went on surveys, we spent 8-9 hours, and we went to Bible studies. We had a good time, beautiful. We weren't thinking about food and all them kind of stuff. We just had a wonderful time in the ministry serving Jehovah. But when we came back, in front of that, our door was unbelievable. When I tell you Jehovah's an awesome God, inspiring. We had fish, meat, we had produce, we had vegetables, fruits, we had eggs. The friends came and just drop off thing by the door. In addition to that, even our Bible studies who come to the meetings, they came and they brought stuff to the house. And when I tell you, we get baked bread, we had bread, they brought bread, homemade bread, we get cake, we had sweet bread. It was like, I tell you, Tobago had the best sweet bread, and I mean, it's no joke, this is for real. I can taste it right now. And with that dirt oven, man, it's off the chain. It was awesome. I mean, it is no joke. I mean,
ministry. And I remember we had the goal of having a public meeting, which was held at the Charlottesville Community Center, with Brother T.E. Andrew being our guest speaker. And the response to that was overwhelming. That was a beautiful day indeed. But best of all, I loved at the end of each day to come home and go to bed at night with my lullaby being the waves crashing on the shore. There was not a better ending.
I'll go back to the mudslide. with the mudslide, something positive came out of it for me that I cherish to this day. And it had to do with the love that was demonstrated to me. We always read that Jehovah's organization is one of love and is an identifying mark of who we are. And interestingly, the mudslide were huge and vehicles were unable to access the road. We were not able to attend the meetings, and it did happen over a weekend. But a sister in Speyside felt motivated to trek through. She didn't know what she was going to face. It was risky, it was dangerous for her. It was outside her comfort zone, but she came to ensure that we were quite okay. When she showed up at the house, needless to say, it brought me to tears. I don't even think I said the words thank you, because it was as if it was just too little to say. All I remember doing was ushering her to the top of the back of the house and washing her feet for her because they were all covered in mud. And being the recipient of that kind of love is something that will always stay with me, and obviously the love of the entire congregation during my entire stay.
So friends, now that we have seen part 1, we eagerly anticipate part 2. But before we get to part 2, let's have these experiences heard again, but this time with a Tobago twist. So please enjoy this next presentation.
Mr. Fiddler. Oh, hi. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. What a joy and pleasure it is to be here on this auspicious occasion as we celebrate the life and times of this here Roxborough congregation. I remember the days when it would only get one congregation a country, and our blue and white maxi used to take we all over with territory. And what a maxi been name again? Oh yes, they used for call them Lucy. All I remember that night when fire been nearly take she. Stop right there, because that's all our another story. Right now, what me want you to do, I sit back, relax, and take in more Roxborough history. Drag your bow, Mr. Fiddler.
Oh, Mr. Fiddler, whoa, hi. One thing me have to say, and this our fact, Jehovah kept sending pioneers to Roxborough Impact. Me can't remember how much of them in all. The names are too many for recall. But every 4 months, one new batch come, bringing zeal and life and fire like the blazing sun. As youths, we couldn't wait to see if the next batch would have been more fun. But all you pioneers were a real blessing to the congregation. Your sacrifice and example was a true inspiration. Drag your bow, Mr. Fiddler.
Drop your bow, Mr. Fiddler. Oh, ha, hi. This next story been make me whimper, but now it fill me with laughter. That is the day when 2 pioneer sisters get left at Castara. Everybody thought they went back to Palatovale after service. Never feel know they been still there Castara, so them again thorough weakness. But when night come in and meeting start, and then we start to lose heart. thinking about them two poor sisters in the dark. Them sisters walk for miles because they're afraid for hitch a ride. When car a come, they just a run and jump in the bush fi hide. But thanks to Jehovah, they reach the Palatuvere destination. But if all you see the condition in a mud and mess fi so, that in our true prodigal situation. Drag your bow, Mr. Fiddler.
Oh, Mr. Fiddler. Oh, hi. I remember Boris' little boy that used to bring out the whole Northside posse. That little 120Y been licensed for whole 5 body. But when the door opened, are the Taylor, Boris, Manswell and Henry family. But due to Jehovah's blessing and their loyal devotion, we now have for today the Palatuvere congregation. Drag your bow, Mr. Fiddler.
Stop your bow, Mr. Fiddler. Oh, hi! Me hear about them one cassette party that all you used to get in a Sister Joe's little gallery. When one side done, radio stop and cassette turn wrong. And me hear about the time the youths went on north side. They preached first, then they went by the battles on the hillside. That day the brothers was in the kitchen. And all you me hear unless that take 8 hours to make one pan of dumpling. Yes, those days seem like real fun. But don't worry, the better days are yet to come. Drag your bow, Mr. Fiddler. Oh, ha! Oh, ha! Oh, ha!
Stop your bow, Mr. Fiddler. Oh, hi. Well, let's say that all good things must come to an end. And we know the days in Roxborough were very well spent. The truth is, we have plenty story that we could relate. But we're going to have to leave some of them lesson for another day. So in conclusion to this oration, remember out of Roxborough come the Goodwood and Palatuvere congregation. But who knows what's next on the horizon? But don't worry, good things come to those who wait. Trust and believe it won't be too late. Drag your bow, Mr. Fiddler.
Oh, ha, ha, hey. Well, me sure. Just like me, Olorel enjoy that. But after I clear up that 8-hour dumpling scenario, okay? Yeah, we get back to that later in a breakout room. So friends, that was a Tobago twist on the stories that we heard earlier. So let's now tune into part 2 of those experiences shared by our pioneer sisters.
You don't know what you will end up in and you don't know when you'll get it.
And she told me, put a face to the name, go and let them.
Really wonderful serving in Tobago. The friendships that I forged while in Tobago.
At least this would have been the first time we ever done local news.
When I tell you Jehovah's an awesome God, inspiring.
Continued living my dream in full-time service, the best life ever. Eventually, I attended the 4th class of the School for Kingdom Evangelizers in 2018, and after which I got a new assignment with the San Fernando Sign Language Congregation, where I currently serve.
Well, I'm married now to a wonderful husband, and I'm still pioneering along with my husband, and this is about 34 years that I've been pioneering. So this is what life is like after Tobago.
Life after Tobago has been good. I work full-time. I'm no longer in the full-time pioneer work, but the pioneer spirit certainly hasn't left me, especially now with the pandemic raging at full speed. I've found ways to continue to engage in my ministry and to do it in a meaningful manner. So Jehovah has blessed me in that respect.
I am still pioneering, and I hope to continue pioneering for the rest of my life.
After leaving Tobago in August 1995, I attended Pioneer School that same year. Then in 1997, January, I was invited to serve as a temporary special pioneer for 8 months with the Barrapore congregation, again with my sister. September that same year, I was invited to serve as a temporary Better Light for 3 months at the branch office in Quebec, Trinidad. It so happened that instead of staying for 3 months, Jehovah blessed me with the privilege of serving there for 10 years. In 2007, I received a new assignment as a temporary special pioneer for 3 months, and after that, I started regular pioneering, which I continue to do with Jehovah's help to this day, along with the Point Commander congregation.
I think after Tobago, about 1998, 1999, I stopped pioneering. Then I migrated to the United States in 2003, which I have been living for the past 18 years, and I continue to auxiliary pioneer consistently. But in 2013, I went back into full-time service, and I went back to pioneer school in 2014, and I continued regular pioneering till 2018. I came down with some health issues. I came down with type 2 diabetes. So I decided to say, you know what, it was really bad. I had to step down. I said, Jehovah, I'm going to step down from pioneering for a while, take care of my health, and at the same time, not stop serving you because, we keep on going. But I will continue to auxiliary pioneer, which I did for 2018 for the whole year. I yet taking care of my health issues.
Well, as most of you know, I got married. I've been married for 21 years. 22 this year. July this year was 22. And I still have the pioneer spirit, and I still would love to taste pioneering again because I had to come off the list. But I would love to taste pioneering again before the end of this system. Keeping myself busy in the ministry, family responsibilities, Zoom meetings. So that's what I'm up to. But I still have the pioneer spirit.
I've served, I came back, got married. We served briefly in the Dabadi congregation. Then the branch reassigned us to serve as special pioneers in the Maruga congregation. When we were in Dabadi, however, I was just regular pioneering, and I was also commuting at the branch. So I had a bit of stint there. And then from Maruga, after they assigned us as special pioneers in Maruga, we were then reassigned to the assembly hall. And at the assembly hall, we serve as assembly hall servants, and they are maintaining the facility. So that was a big change of assignment. It was no longer the field, it was more maintenance and making sure that we get the assemblies running smoothly and providing, a very relaxing atmosphere. And that lasted for a number of years, about 7 years. And then when they changed, they'd ask us to serve in Mayaro. So then we moved to Mayaro, where we are currently serving for the past 9 or 10 years.
I returned to Trinidad to give a measure of support to my sister whose husband was terminally ill. Sadly, we lost him to cancer, and then a couple of years later I lost her to pulmonary fibrosis. That turned out to be a stressful period in my life, and as a result it landed me up in the hospital for pneumonia for 8 days. The doctors didn't think I was going to make it. Thankfully, with the full support of Jehovah and the friends, I am here. So I'm glad to be here with you all. Just what the brothers always encourage us to do. Making sure that we do our Bible reading, attend the meetings, participate, busy in the field service. Once we keep busy with a healthy spiritual routine, it really does contribute rather than living on the fringes of the organization. And so right now with even Zoom, which is so easy to allow me to isolate myself, I'm very conscious of not doing that. So even if I may have phone numbers and addresses to carry out my ministry on my own, I make sure and link with the congregation so that I can feel connected. And also at the end of the meeting, when it is that I am in a breakout, I am assigned to a breakout room, I try to participate with the friends in sharing with a conversation, even though I may be tired, because all of that is what will help me to remain part of and being part of the congregation.
Your relationship with Jehovah is necessary. So that one-on-one relationship, so prayer, personal study, Bible reading, that helps to keep you focused. That helps you to have that close bond with Jehovah. It helps you to understand, what He requires of you. It keeps you current. It keeps you, making sure that you always doing what the slave requires.
Reflect on a life without Jehovah is no life at all. So for me, Jehovah is everything to me. He's my best friend. He's, single. Pretty much I've been single all my life, so I always rely on Jehovah for everything. So I don't know what it means not to rely on Jehovah or ask Jehovah for this or make decisions based on Jehovah. I don't know nothing outside of that. For the past 35, 34 years I've been serving Jehovah.
One is learning to be content, continuing to rely and trust in Jehovah under all circumstances, focusing on what is more important: prayer, daily Bible reading, and a determination to serve Jehovah forever and to continue in full-time service.
I refer to Philippians chapter 2, verse 13. They are shows that Jehovah takes pleasure in energizing us, giving us both the desire and the power to act. I believe Jehovah saw what was in my heart, and He stirred that desire and gave me the energy to act. So all the credit goes to Jehovah.
Is always one very simple one. Jehovah gives me what I need when I need it. And that lesson, I didn't learn it early. I didn't learn it easily. But thankfully, I've learned that Jehovah gives me what I need when I need it. So I'm trusting in Him. I'm going to continue to put His ministry first in my life, even while working secularly, make it a point to use every opportunity to share that message, to talk about Him, stay on top of my personal study, stay on top of Bible reading, stay on top of meeting attendance.
About my love for Jehovah, and for people. And I just love people. That is what helped me to keep to put Jehovah first continuously until now.
Well, I simply love my God Jehovah and want him to be pleased with me. He does not deserve the reproach that he is presently enduring. And so if I can help anyone learn the truth about him, I am happy to expend myself to do so, and that is simply what my focus has been.
When the pioneer spirit, I never lost the pioneer spirit. I always felt as though I was still a pioneer, and I operated as though I was still a pioneer with regards to my ministry. Always kept my ministry in the forefront, personal study, commenting at meetings, conducting Bible studies, keeping my spirituality active. That is what has kept me going up till now. But the precious memories that we have.
So friends, that brings us to the conclusion of this segment of our program, where we were able to benefit from the interviews of our dear sisters. Now, as mentioned before, we captured as much of the submissions that we could, but due to the technical difficulties, we weren't able to include all of them. However, most of our sisters are here with us this evening, so at the end of the program, we can feel free to associate in breakout rooms and to continue that thread of encouragement that we've been benefiting from throughout this evening. It is often said that you may not know what hidden talents or abilities you have unless at first you try. The next production is a production that was done by us, the brothers of the ROXBOROUGH congregation. And I can assure you that some hidden talents and abilities were unearthed in the process of making this video. We are pleased to present to you the ROXBOROUGH Congregation Choir, now performing song number 84, Reaching Out.
We need to bring us joy and to succeed. So he provides so many ways in which to serve and spend our days, reaching out, giving on.
Work to do in every land. Where there's a need, we lend a hand. By reaching out, we show we care. We want to help and want to share.
Reaching out, giving all for our God above. And where the need is great, there will be reaching out in love. And here at home, it talks their mind. We plan, we build, new skills we try. We learn to speak a foreign tongue. And bring good news
Kingdom
to everyone. Reaching out, giving more for our God above. And where the need is great, there
So folks, at this point, let's just pause for effect. And that was the Roxborough Congregation Choir. Friends, listen, I'm telling you, that was talent upon talent upon talent. Brothers, we want to say thank you to all the hard work that was put into that video, and of course, all the background work that was done to make sure that it came together so nicely. Once again, we want to say thank you. Folks, we have now come to the end of what has truly been a momentous and wonderful evening. We appreciate all the expressions, all the fine words, and all the experiences that were shared with us here this evening. As mentioned before, however, in our introduction, we don't want to let it stop here. We want to use this as a platform to reignite some of these friendships and ensure that we continue to grow closer together as we draw ever closer to the end of this wicked system of things. Friends, we hope that you enjoyed this evening. We know that you were truly encouraged and benefited from the fine experiences that were shared. And of course, we wish all of you well, and we bid you a good evening and an enjoyable night. Now, what we are going to do, we're going to have some breakout rooms, but before we do so, we want to put some of the pioneers on the spot. If you would like to say anything now, you want to share anything now, live, right here, right now, you can just raise your hand and we'll be willing to take them, and we'd like to hear from you. So if you want to say anything live, right here, right now, now is the opportunity to do so. So feel free to raise your hand and we'll take your hand and we'll hear from you. Anybody. So let's start with Denise Caesar. Unmute for us, Denise. Excellent.
I came in late, so I didn't get to say hello to everybody. Sending plenty love. Special shout out to Kayleen, Camille, Cassandra, Andrea, Gwenny, Richard, Lucy, all the pioneers, of course, but I had to call out my Charlottesville crew. That's my family, that's my peeps. Sending you plenty love to all my peeps.
Thank you, Denise. Thank you. It's so good to hear from you and to see you. Excellent. Thank you so much. Rhonda, we can hear you now. Rhonda Thomas.
Alistair,
yes.
I am blown away by this beautiful production. It's as if you all went to film school. Everything was so well put together. I truly enjoyed it from beginning to end. And it's so nice to see all, according to Denise, all my pioneers, Astra, Shalice, Gina, all the people I served with. So you just rehashed all the positive, beautiful memories that we had. So I just want to thank you and Ayana and everybody else involved in putting this together. We truly, I appreciated it so much. So thank you so much, Alistair. Thank you, everybody.
Yes, you're welcome. You are indeed welcome. And as mentioned, it was a unique team effort and a congregation effort to some extent. So friends, congratulations on the hard work put together for this production. Let's have Camille Sinclair.
Right. Okay. Yes. Are you all okay? Good. I hope everybody is hearing me all right. Yes. It's a pleasure. It was a beautiful surprise. I am just blown away. It brought back so many, even tearful memories, just seeing everybody, hearing the friends and seeing how you all have all grown, all the little ones that when we first came to the congregation and now grown up, who married and who continue faithful in drover service. And Kelvin, but like the names are too many. If I start, I probably wouldn't be able to finish, you know? Yeah. But to every single one that I worked with and served with, it was a pleasure, a delight, and a wonderful 25th anniversary gift, because I was looking back at the years, 25 years, it seemed like yesterday. But it's a heartwarming experience, the work and effort that all of you all put into presenting this whole evening was just is too much expressing words, but I truly appreciate it. And I wish Jehovah's blessing upon all of you all, and may we continue to hold fast right up until the new world, until we all get there and could relive some of these memories. Yes.
Yes, very much so. Thank you, Camille. Kathy, Alfred.
Well, first of all, I just want to say a special thanks to all our brothers and sisters who put this reunion together. I will call it a family reunion of our dear brothers and sisters, because we miss you guys so much, we cannot get to really see you guys, to hug, to talk, to express how we are feeling because of the COVID thing, So I really appreciate the family reunion, so we could see our dear sisters, the experience from since 1995, with all these sisters. I remember a lot of them, and I know they remember me, Lucy and Richard, they got an experience with me I know that I will never forget, and I'm glad with Jehovah's help that they bring me into the truth, because if I wasn't in the truth, I don't know what would have become of my life for today. Because when I met them, I was a Rastafarian, I believe in Selassie, and they studied with me, they were patient with me, they helped me to see that Jehovah is a true and living God. When I think Jehovah wouldn't forgive me, they make me know that no matter where you come from, what you were doing in the past, Jehovah always forgave us. And there's so many things to explain, but I wouldn't take up too much of you guys' time. All I want to say, we love you all from the part of the Beck congregation. Lots of love to all our dear brothers and sisters. We love you. We enjoy it, and I know that the rest feel the same. Thank you so much.
Yes, and Kathy, thank you. Thank you so much for those expressions. And I know the brothers would have really enjoyed hearing you express yourself like that. Thank you so much. Sister Walker, Andrea.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. Such a privilege to be here with everyone. I just wanted to echo the sentiments of what was expressed before. It really is heartwarming to be here and to relive these moments. It only dawned on me this evening of how much an integral part this Tobago experience has been in my life, and how much it has molded me and shaped me to be what I am now. So I'm very grateful to you all for organizing this. Very grateful for all of you who took the time out of your schedule to be here and be present and to share their experiences. It is such a joy. And I'm thinking of the scripture, Psalm 133 and this one. It is good and pleasant for us to be together, even though we are apart, but still we feel the unity and the love. So continue, my friends, and everybody continue to be safe. We look forward to when this whole pandemic is over and we can reunite and personally express our love to each other.
Yes. Yeah, we appreciate that, Andrea. We really do. Sister Kayleen Hackett. Kayleen, unmute for us, please. We're not hearing you. Nice. Try again. You're still muted.
Okay.
Nice.
This was really a beautiful reunion. Thanks for all the hard work of the brothers and sisters of the Roxborough congregation and maybe the Palliative as well. And really and truly, this reunion bringing back memories from the past, over 26 years, and still in the pioneer service. It serves as a booster for me to continue as a special pioneer in this wonderful work. And I encourage the brothers and sisters of the Roxborough congregation and others who work so hard to put this together to continue with your hard work and continue to focus on kingdom interests first. Bye.
Thank you, Kayleen. Bye. Take care. Very good. Let's have the Job family, and then we hear from Miss Macmillan.
Good afternoon. Thanks to everyone, Alistair, and I know all who take part in bringing this memories again. I can even remember some of these sisters who we work along with. Seeing some of the faces, I can't even bring them. But I know, remember Rhonda, Jackie, and, Astra, the wonderful time. They were here with us for so many years, the struggles we have been through, up and down, This is such a wonderful thing, Alisa. We thank you and the crew. Ayana, I know Ayana was behind this too. We thank you all so much. We wish you could do it again. I'm so glad to see Sister Sinclair, Andre, Christine Boris to be, it's such a beauty. It could bring tears to our eye. Remember the hard time we have been through with the Maxi breakdown, and it stayed long. Richard Maxi, but it was there to take us through, rough, thick and thin, and we really appreciate this. This is so wonderful. It is so wonderful. Who I didn't remember, but some of the sisters I can't bring to mind. I can't even remember some of them. But thanks again, Alistair. Thanks for everyone who was involved in this afternoon. It's a really, and hope we could do it again.
Yes. Thank you so much, Auntie Vian. Just echoing the sentiments again, it was a unique team effort. So there were a lot of other brothers involved, working much harder than I did. So these brothers, they know themselves. And brothers, thank you once again for all the work that you put in behind the scenes to make this evening possible. So here's what we want to do. We'll just take two more, and then we're going to the breakout rooms, because as Sister Job mentioned, we need to reacquaint ourselves to a certain degree. So we hear from Miss Macmillan, and then we hear from Sister Boris. We'll take Sister George as well. And then after that, we head out into the breakout rooms. So that's it there after we take Sister George.
Hi, good afternoon. I am a study. Let me introduce myself like that. I'm a study. Miss Joan is my tutor. I really enjoyed this. I came in a bit late, but I really do enjoy it. Everything was put together like professionally, really did it. And I'm not saying you guys are not professional, but it is like that, professional. A professional couldn't have done it any better. But to listen to the sisters and they give their talk about how they enjoy Jehovah's company and working for him and stuff like that, it really reached my heart. I'm so happy. I have a handful. My heart is so happy right now. So I just want to say thank you. I'm very happy to meet those sisters, even though it's from this far distance, and as you say, one day we might get to meet each other in person. I'm looking forward to that. And I'm really, really happy. I just want to say thank you for inviting me tonight. And I appreciate it. Thanks.
Yes, thank you for that, Ms. Macmillan. And we know that as Jehovah continues to bless your efforts with your progress in your study, you will very soon be a part of this rich heritage that is the Roxborough congregation. Very good. Sister Christine Boris. Christine, unmute your mic. Right, good. Good
right.
To go.
Yeah. Good night, everyone. And as was said before by everyone, it's a great privilege to be among our brothers and sisters, the great reunion. And I am so happy that I was a part of the mother congregation. I just always call it the mother congregation, because that mother congregation has spread its wings and give birth to two full-size congregations. And I am glad I was a part of that. What stood out for me most was this day, the first day I saw Brother Richard, way back in 1992, see him on the back of Bobby motorbike. And I want to know, who is this man? Bobby so little in front and this man so tall behind on this motorbike. Never to know that he's here, he was bringing him to introduce him to us and so on. And from there, the friendship grew, especially Lucy. She was my teacher. She taught me a lot. I remember when I did my first talk, was assigned my first talk, I wrote it out on a whole page, and she said, no. You can't, because you can't go up there and read everything. So she taught me, and I was so privileged to learn. I remember Rhonda and those girls when one evening the maxi broke down and Lucy and they got stuck inside here. So Samuel had to carry them out. And of course, the little buggy had to carry all of them out. And Rhonda, as being the smallest, she would lie down on the lap of all the others in the back seat, right? So, you know, they had fun and so on, and we had fun with them also. In the house, they never told you about in the house up the hill when the sisters used to do the talk in the inside book. When those big drama cockroach come out, those girls will jump up on top of those chairs and those benches and run. You know, but it was fun, that little shortcut, you know, that they speak about there. We so know about that shortcut because, of course, as she said, if you drop from the edge there, you're dropping straight in the main road below because the hill was so sharp. And I remember Shelly slithering and sliding when rain falls. She had to take off her shoes, you know. So it was a memorable occasion. I love all my sisters. And it was glad to see Margaret after so many years. Margaret, I love you. If you are still there, Rhonda, Andrea, Sandra, all too much to mention. I love you girls. Keep it up. Right. And thank you all.
Very good, very good. So you see why we have to stay on and go in these breakout rooms, because there are some stories I guarantee you that are going to come out that you don't want to miss. Finally, Sister George. Thank you so much, Sister Boris.
Yeah, I just want to say I'm happy to be at this reunion this evening. I'm in Roxborough congregation for about 11 years, came here in 2010. But I met a lot of the brothers here who were pioneers. I used to come up and see my daddy, Brother Duke, from time to time during the holidays, and I'd work with them. Some of them were living at Bell Garden. I would go down and work with them, person like Sandra and others. I went to Palliative and work with other persons, but I could vividly remember that morning I was going out with Brother Richard and his wife in the maxi. And I don't know if they remember, but the maxi started overheating. And there's a spring around the outside there. We had to stop and you know, put water to get it to go down the hill and to meet the brothers on the field service. I'm happy to see Jackie again because we went to the second pioneer school. You know, it's so nice to see her and many others, Gina and all the other girls that, you know, used to be here working. So just want to express my regards to all of them and everybody at the reunion this evening, as a matter of fact. Thanks, Ayana, and all the others who contribute for us to enjoy such a wonderful evening. Thanks again, Jehovah.
Yes, thank you, Sister George. Thank you so much for that. So friends, before we go and before we head out into the breakout rooms, we must make some acknowledgements. First of all praise and honor and glory must go to our dear Heavenly Father, Jehovah, because without his spirit and the efforts that were made throughout the years in him supporting this work, this would not have been possible. And all these memories that we have shared this evening was on account of the love and support that Jehovah showed us throughout the years. Even this production, everything about it and the way it flowed, great evidence of Jehovah's Spirit was indeed here with us this evening, and we want to thank him for that. We also want to acknowledge to the spouses of those of you who are now married, you know, in the support that they would have shown in getting some of these things together. And at the very onset, when we had Brother Louis and Brother Joseph, we also want to make mention of your dear wives as well too, because they would have ably supported you, brothers, in the work as men taking the lead back then. And of course, they would have supported you well. And evidence is seen of that even today. So to all you dear ones, all you brothers of the Roxborough congregation, Goodwood and Palatuve, who made the effort to log in here on Zoom, those of you looking on YouTube, we were glad to have you here this evening with us. It was truly a memorable evening. And now we invite you to be a part of the association that will now take place in our breakout rooms, and we say once again, thank you, thank you, thank you.